From the high desert and the great American Southwest, I bid you all good evening, good morning, as the case may be, and welcome to yet another edition of Coast to Coast AM live talk radio throughout the nighttime. Right here from the Tahitian and Hawaiian Islands in the west, eastward across flyover country. That's us. All the way east to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands, south into South America, north to the pole, and worldwide on the internet. This is Coast to Coast AM, now 271 affiliates strong. 29 more to go to get to 300, folks. 29. Whew. It's really moving right along. Well, wasn't that something last night? Continuing to get messages and email and faxes and you name it on the show last night. And I'm sure we'll get feedback on it this morning. There wasn't really an opportunity for that yesterday because, of course, we didn't take calls. Now, the big news today. Can you believe it? Bob Dole quit the U.S. Senate. That's it. He has quit the entire U.S. Senate, not just his majority leader position, but the whole Senate. He knew his campaign was in trouble and knows it. Said that he wants to run as a citizen, just a citizen, another guy from Kansas. He's been in Congress since 1960. He said yesterday, quote, "I will seek the presidency with nothing to fall back on but the judgment of the people and nowhere to go but the White House or home," end quote. It was a day when, for the first time, you got to see the human side of Bob Dole. And it was well done. Unlike his answer to the State of the Union message, this was well done, heartfelt, and the real man. Nevertheless, polling way behind, NBC Wall Street Journal has Clinton at 54, Dole at 37, the battleground in the Midwest. Women, a real problem for Bob Dole. Listen to this. With women, it's Clinton 59, Dole 33. He's got to get the women somehow. Independents, Clinton 54, Dole 24. So he's way, way behind in both categories, women and independents. These are important. We're going to the White House with these votes or not without them kind of groups. Another question mark is what's going to occur at the convention in San Diego. How will Pat Buchanan behave? Will he join the Dole campaign? Or will he splinter himself off? I imagine the first rather than the latter. He's got to deal with the abortion, minimum wage issues. Can't do that from the Senate very well because of all the pressure. So he's going to do it as a private citizen. It is a good move without much to lose. Even the White House was stunned at the news. The President surrounded himself during the day with police on the steps of Capitol Hill for photo ops and simply tried to look very presidential. So there you've got it. It did stun everybody, and it is a good move, in my opinion, because Bob Dole was probably coming toward the sunset of his Senate career anyway. He's going to be tired, whether he wins, loses the race for the White House, he's going to be pooped. And he's going to be ready to go home. So all things considered, it was a good move. Question is, can he win the groups that he needs, the women, the independents? Can he hold the party together? Can he hold the convention together? Can he keep Pat Buchanan from fouling up the works at the convention? Because you split what, little is left, and there is zero chance and minus that he would ever be able to beat Bill Clinton. Here's a fax. Hi, Art. Wow. Was that really Bob Dole I saw on TV today? It was the first time he ever actually moved me. As I listened to him, I kept thinking, there is hope. I saw a different Bob Dole standing up there. He was emotional, vulnerable, downright human, yet still projected the strength, stability, and character that Bill Clinton will never have. If this is the new Bob Dole, I like it. If he can combine a sense of warmth, humor, and humility with the other fine traits he already has, there is hope in November. I have to believe the Clinton camp is praying that old Bob Dole comes back soon. That's D-U-L-L. So it is an interesting move on Bob Dole's part. There's no question about it. I wonder if you think he can do it. I wonder why he has such a problem with women. I can understand why politically he's got a bit of difficulty with the independents. But why the women? Dare I say, could it be looks? Could it be personality? Could it be the women, if not looks? Let's leave that because that'll get me in trouble. Could it be that Bill Clinton is just very energetic and young and appeals to women? Well, that's because of his youth. So I don't know. Interesting political development. Bob Dole is now going to have to capitalize on it somehow by following up now with a good, strong, energetic, youthful campaign. ValueJet Flight 592. Oh my. May have been carrying cargo. It shouldn't have been carrying 4 or 5 crates of oxygen generators. Now, these are cans full of chemicals that are designed to fall down and give you oxygen when you need it on an airplane, if they lose pressurization. And I would have no way of knowing, but one would think ValueJet was carrying them to another ValueJet location, something like that. But they are regarded as hazardous materials. And they were not authorized this kind of cargo. Investigators now say there was, indeed, an explosion and fire. Some of the wreckage is coming up painfully with soot and fire damage. The search may have to go on for weeks. Military said none of its personnel may fly on ValueJet for at least 30 days. So, no military on ValueJet. How about you? Would you, given, the savings of $150 or so, would you fly ValueJet? Or would you go for one of the name brands? Really ask yourself that. If you went to the airport today and it was about $150 cheaper to fly ValueJet than the other airlines, would you fork over the money? Or would you say, I'll take my chances. Let's fly ValueJet. Philip Morris made a surprise announcement today. Said that it's going to support a law to cut teen smoking. They'll do that, they say, by banning cigarettes in vending machines and severely limiting advertising. But in return, quid pro quo, they want the same legislation to prohibit the FDA from regulating tobacco as a drug. So far, it looks like the White House is not interested. Do you think it would be a good deal? Would you go for it? Or do you want to see tobacco regulated just like a drug? So that people who need cigarettes have to go to their doctor. I still can't imagine that. You go to the doctor these days, and you're going to get a lecture about smoking anyway, right? They do it automatically. Automatically. Even the dentists do it. So, can you imagine going to a doctor who's going to give you a lecture anyway and trying to get your prescription for a carton of cigarettes? Yeah, good luck. All right, trade war, ? With China? Yeah, maybe. The U.S. today announced $3 billion, a lot of money, in trade sanctions against China. U.S. sick of our intellectual product, movies, CDs, blah, blah, being pirated. And so, we slammed on 100% tariffs in 30 days on clothing, electronics, and other consumer goods. China immediately fired back by banning any imports of, interestingly, movies, TV shows, CDs, cars, vegetable oils, the very things that they have been pirating anyway. So, we'll see where that one goes. A climber rescued from Mount Everest after a blizzard said that he dragged himself to safety because he had a lot to come back to. Seaborne Weathers of Dallas told ABC's Primetime Live he lost his way in a blizzard and then, exhausted, fell asleep. Well, when he woke up, realized that if he didn't act soon, he was going to die. So he pushed on and on until he saw what turned out to be a tent. He was evacuated Monday in the highest ever emergency rescue by helicopters from that mountain, 19,100 feet. He suffered frostbite, says otherwise he can deal with whatever physical wounds came out of the ordeal. Well, I knew it was on its way. Lawyers for our president have taken the Paula Jones sexual harassment lawsuit to the U.S. Supreme Court in an effort to delay the trial until after Clinton leaves office. They argue that litigation of a private civil damage lawsuit must be deferred until the president leaves office. In all but the most exceptional cases, a federal appeals court ruled in January, the Jones lawsuit can go to trial even while the president remains in office. Jones alleges that Clinton made unwanted advances in a Little Rock hotel room back in 1991 when he was then governor of Arkansas, and she, a good-looking state employee. So we'll see. How do you think Clarence Thomas, do you think he would recuse himself in this case? Or if not, then how do you think he would vote? I've got an article here entitled, it's from the Fernando de Valle Associated Press article, as a matter of fact. The goat sucker legend claws its way into Texas. Sylvia remembered what she had seen on TV when she found Nina, her pet goat, dead, with 3 puncture wounds in its neck. Then she got scared. I think it's watching over us, she said. It might happen again. We never know when it's going to come back. It is Chupacabra. So there it is, down in Texas. Dear Art, after seeing a news report on CNN about Chupacabra, a thought came to me, and perhaps one of your other listeners can come up with some sort of good answer. What mineral, chemical, or other substance is there in goat blood that differs it from any other blood? It appears that goats are the main targets. True. And it would only seem logical to me there must be something a tad different about their blood. And says he enjoyed the program last night. Desert Dan. The Freeman standoff. Today, apparently on my affiliate up in Portland, KEX, they had a bit of a go-around about asking the question, what could be done to settle the Freeman situation without violence? It is a good topic. It looks very much as though it is headed to a violent conclusion right now. Some of the ideas pump enormous quantities of deodor of skunk into the house. Annoying, but I doubt that would do it. 2, set up a giant speaker and play obnoxious music 24 hours a day at high decibels, using Roseanne Barr singing the Star-Spangled Banner. I don't get a chance to reread all these. That's funny. Make the ranch house the center of a small donut perimeter with electronically monitored fence and pick up each as they leave from the noise and skunk odor. Use a non-toxic sleep gas on the house. Now that one's not bad. Then move in with a SWAT team to arrest the ones under indictment while they sleep. You know what? That has possibilities. Cut the cost of the stakeout by using reserve and guard troops who have to go to 2 to 3 week summer camp anyhow, and rotate them while allowing no entry to anyone and cutting phones off. Anybody else have any ideas? Or what do you like that you just heard? In other words, how could we, without violence, end that standoff? I like the idea of putting them to sleep. The only thing is it may not be practical. In other words, you need just the right dosage to ensure somebody gets to sleep and not permanently to sleep. I don't know. Everybody's having conventions these days. Get this. In Bangladesh, they just held the first annual Muggers Convention. Next year, maybe it'll be in the Anaheim Convention Center. No, it says it won't be. Can you imagine that? A convention of muggers. All right, well, I've got a little bit here on the asteroid, that NASA is now looking for. Oh, did I say asteroid? Well, it's not that they found one, but they're looking with very little fanfare. NASA has just begun a program to watch for dangerous asteroids. Now, isn't that something? I'll have more. So, NASA's looking for asteroids. The Air Force is involved. They're going to use telescopes that had been used for other things, and they're going to start looking hard for asteroids that might threaten the Earth. All of that quietly, but it is now underway, and I thought you'd like to know. By the way, that article is in the New York Times. Dear Art, the year is 1996, and all of the world's governments have just made the grim announcement that an asteroid is going to collide with Earth in 1 year. Nothing anyone can do. The Earth will be destroyed. We're informed we all have 1 year to live. Now, there'd be a lot of different responses to this news. Some folks would simply freak out. Others would begin killing people. Others might try to build their own homemade spaceship to get the hell off the planet. Others would become deeply spiritual and retire into themselves until the day came. After 11 months goes by, everything has changed in the world. All people have been forced to take a good long look at the way they see the world and how wrong we've been to hate each other. The way we worship money and material things would be in the past. As those who are left sit and wait for the end. On the day the asteroid is supposed to hit, something happens and it misses. Something to think about. Well, I've done that before as a what if, if an asteroid was headed toward us and we had 1 year or something like that. And obviously, and for some reason, NASA has a sudden great interest in looking for things headed our way. Isn't that interesting? What would you do? I know what I'd do. For as long as I would be able, and I've said this before, I would sit right here and we'd set up a little observation thing outside. And we'd sort of talk it in. I mean, what else could you do but what you do? And so that's what I guess I would do. All right, it's going to be an open line kind of night, and we'll be right back with it.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM. From the 15th of May, 1996.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. On our way to becoming, or maybe already there, we're checking into it, the largest live overnight talk show in the history of America. Getting close. 29 to 300. All right. It kind of looks to me like a lot of people are going to want to talk about the Freeman. Hi, Art. Regarding the Freeman, has anyone thought about just leaving them alone That would remove all the publicity. They know as long as they are tying up the government and media, they've got the upper hand and can exploit that. Remove the attention and then remove the threat. Mike in Spokane. It's an idea, but the problem is the law is the law. And the issue here, I think, is whether or not, because you possess weapons and you are dangerous, that you can hold the law off with guns. Dear Art, to get the Freeman out, cut their cable TV. This is sure to make any true American, as they claim to be, surrender. Actually, my favorite was Roseanne's national anthem. Sounds kind of like what they did to get Noriega out of the Vatican's embassy. Then this, Art, as our problems with the Patriot movement continue, I pondered many possible reactions which our government might take. I'm reminded of a childhood incident whereby I wielded my first knife at rock-throwing thugs from the next street who threatened my younger brothers. My parents commended my courage and my protective instincts. They then promptly took my knife away until I matured enough to know how and when to use it properly. What they did not do is ask the neighborhood bullies to come back and teach me a lesson. Maybe we should hope the bullies' parents were as wise. Andrew in Seattle. All right, to the telephones we go. First-time callers to the program, area code 702-727-1222. The wild card lines, area code 702-727-1295. Toll free if you're here in the West. It's 1-800-618-8255. East, it's 1-800-825-5033. There, you've got it. And oh yes, internationally, should you be outside the country someplace, get hold of the AT&T operator or call the AT&T USA Direct Access number, and then 800-893-0903. That's 800-893-0903. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Hey, good evening, Art.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, I liked that Roseanne Barr thing. That was kind of cool.
That would be possibly cruel and inhumane.
I agree. That might be a little much, actually. But you know what? Somebody, I guess, had faxed in and said something about shutting off the cable TV.
Yes.
Actually,
that would make any American wave the white flag and come out.
Unfortunately, that's probably true now. I think what the problem here is that these gentlemen didn't watch cable TV in the first place, and what they did was they learned about what common law is. And a lot of people don't understand that that's a lot of what they're talking about is common law. Mm. And if they were allowed to show people what the reality of what they were doing, I think there'd probably be a lot of people that would change their minds about them.
I don't. They're calling for a grand jury of their peers, and by that they mean people just like them. They don't mean your average citizen.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
No, I don't know. I think that everybody, their peers, and in fact, in the Constitution,
then
peers were supposed to be people that knew your character and knew who you were.
Well, look, does that mean that if you've got a purse snatcher, why the government is going to have to go out and get 12 purse snatchers?
Well, of course, their character would have to be questioned also, and if it was 12 purse snatchers that was on the jury, I don't think you'd have that.
Okay, well then, shall we go find 12 people who have floated hot checks? Would that be a jury?
Oh, no, not at all. Actually, I don't think it was really hot checks they were doing. I think they were filing deeds and...
No, they were filing liens, and
right.
and then writing checks on funds that had not been received.
A lot like the Federal Reserve does.
Well,
that's what the whole point was the debt-on-debt kind of thing.
Yeah, all right. Well, thanks. Look, that's trying to justify one perceived wrong, or a perceived wrong, or a real wrong with a perceived wrong, or a real wrong. In other words, you can't do that. No, those were hot checks. You put a lien on somebody that is not legal anyway, and they don't yield up the money to the lien, and you write checks on what you think is going to be deposited that you know damn well really never will be. That's a hot check, folks. Now the question is, how best to get them to come out? Now, the Roseanne Barr thing, while effective, does seem inhuman and cruel to me. Cutting off their TV, that's close to inhuman and cruel. East of the Rockies, whoops, you would have been on the air. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Oh, hi, Art. This is Ed in Finland, California.
Hi, Ed.
Yeah, I'm, a couple of questions. One about the La Chupacabra. It was seen close by to where I am, Fillmore.
Okay, let's all try to get this straight.
Okay.
It's Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yes.
All right. Okay, it's Chupacabra, and wasn't it supposed to have killed chickens around here, or?
Chickens, goats. It's now attacked several people. It's,
Not a nice...
well...
Not a nice creature at all.
Yeah.
And also on this Freeman thing, do you suppose they're listening to Art Bell tonight?
Yes.
They are?
Yes. We have probably more nighttime coverage in the state of Montana than any radio program in existence. And so not only do the Freemen listen, but the FBI listen as well. So if you have some ideas.
So I don't know if they can, call or not, but maybe they could give some kind of a signal, that they're listening to Art Bell and that.
Okay, well, my guess is that the FBI has cut their phone line so that the only communication they can have is with the FBI.
Ah.
So I doubt very seriously they could call if they want to put out some kind of sign indicating they're listening to this program. That's fine, and the media can make note of that, and we will then know. But I know anyway. I mean, they've got guards. They're up all night. We put a signal right over the area. Sure, they listen, you betcha. And the FBI listens, too. I happen to know that for a fact.
Hey, about Wayne Green, the fellow you had on the
yes.
while ago, he mentioned that he and Buckminster Fuller and someone else started the American Mensa Society?
Yes.
Well, did you know that Buckminster Fuller knew Tesla and was in contact with him?
Well, I'm not surprised. All right, thank you very much. I'm not surprised at all. So the caller raises a very good point. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure that they're listening, the Freemen. And I'm sure the FBI and the ATF and the other agencies that are there in force are listening as well. So, sure. If you've got some ideas about how this could be resolved without bloodshed, if there is bloodshed, then it could be the shot heard around the world. And I've had some indication that some heavy equipment is moving that way, indicating the possibility of a near-term dynamic entry of some sort. So, I guess now would be the time. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I wanted to talk about the La Chupacabra.
La Chupacabra.
La Chupacabra.
There you go.
Okay. I was just wondering, I've talked to a lot of friends about it, and no one seems to really hear about it. But how could I explain, like, if nobody, I mean, I know I'm trying to figure out if I should believe it or whatever.
Oh, you can believe it, sir. This is, while it's a story that the networks haven't picked up on yet, all the major network mainstays, KNBC, KBC, CBS in LA, all across the southwestern U.S. is reporting on it. So it's real.
Okay. Okay, well, that's really all I wanted to know. Thanks.
All right, thank you. What it is, different question. I've got a videotape that purports to have a real picture of a chupacabra. Video. We'll see. I'll be watching it in the morning. If it really is there, I will get a still and get it to you. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Art, Dale from Tacoma.
Hi, Dale.
I've been giving a lot of thought to this Freeman issue for several days. I don't think it's feasible, but one possible solution would be for the FBI to completely back off and let a militia group that does not share the radical views actually take care of the problem. And that way the people could not really come back on the government because the government wouldn't have solved it.
Huh. Deputize them, maybe?
Well, I don't know if you'd have to do anything. You'd have to completely isolate
No, I don't think... I follow what you're saying, but I don't think that you could do that simply from the sense that that would be the federal government yielding its proper authority.
I would agree with that. I guess I should have prefaced it by saying I don't think it's feasible, but it would certainly solve the issue of I'm more concerned about martial law than I am a bunch of militia issues. Mm-hmm. I don't want it to escalate to that, and one way to do it would be to simply short-circuit that from happening.
Well, it's an idea. I would think you could barely get away with it even if you deputized the people. But I appreciate the suggestion, and I understand why you made it, but I don't think that they would go for it. No, it's going to have to be legitimate law enforcement. And I don't think the government and the law enforcement agencies, even the state agencies, can, in effect, give away their power for the sake of political expediency. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Yeah, hi, Art.
Hello.
This is John.
Hi, John.
In San Diego.
Yes, sir.
You were saying that, actually asking the question if there was a peaceful way to resolve this Freeman situation.
Yes.
I believe that if the freedom of speech were actually allowed to the extent that it should be in this country, that we should be able to hear what the Freeman has to say, regardless of whether at this point we agree with them or not, because in a way, the media, I believe, is somewhat responsible for making sure that their message does not get out. If we had true freedom of speech in this country, we would be able to listen to what they had to say, regardless of the bad checks and all of that, and determine for ourselves what the value of their objective or opinion was. Mm-hmm. You know, I have read, and I'll try to keep it short.
I don't think there is any right to a public forum because you wrote bad checks or because there's a standoff or because you've got guns and you're holding the feds back. I don't think that gives you a right to a forum that you otherwise would not have. If they broke the law, then, or it is alleged they have broken the law, then they will have a forum. It's called a courtroom if they come out.
Yes, I agree totally.
Just like you would have.
Right.
I mean,
you don't want to hold the American public hostage just to get a message out.
That's right.
I agree with you. But I do believe that many opposing opinions to the mainstream in this country are suppressed. And if we really do have freedom of speech in this country, and I agree, you can hold your own lectures and do it in a peaceful manner. I may not agree with the way that they're doing it, but I, as a citizen, am still very curious.
All right. Well, I appreciate your suggestion, sir, and we'll chew it over. But look, that's like saying that the Unabomber was justified in killing people so that he could get his manifesto read. Huh? It worked. He did it. And even with regard to the Freemen right now, if they were not holding off the FBI with guns, the ATF with guns, and the threat of violence and death and political tragedy after Waco and Ruby Ridge, to have another one, they know the federal government doesn't want that. So, in a way, their issue is heard. Here we are talking about it, right? It is interesting. It is interesting that you can get a forum. If you've got a gun, you can get a forum. If you've got a bomb, you can get a forum. Well, you can try and get a forum anyway, but the people that have now succeeded, I think, are paving the way for others who are going to try it. Don't you think? Don't you think the average schmo out there who wants his idea, whatever it is, crackpot or otherwise, to be heard, if he does something violent, he'll be heard. Otherwise, who's going to print that stuff? All right, wild card line, you're on the air.
Yeah, this is Lonnie in Wichita.
Hi.
Hi, I've got some news about the Freeman.
All right.
Supposedly, Leroy
Schweitzer. Yes.
Walked out of a grand jury scot-free today.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I certainly had not heard that, and I should have heard that if it is so.
Well, I've heard it before. I've heard it on different radio stations.
Well, all right. I will accept what you're saying and try and verify it.
Well, I don't have, absolute confirmation myself. That's just
it seems to me that
I heard it second or third hand.
Well, I see. Well, it should have made CNN or one of the networks or something, and surely it would have.
Well, not necessarily. If they don't consider it news.
Oh, it's news, sir. I'll tell you what, though. I will try and verify it. And anybody else can verify what that man says. Fine. I'm very skeptical. Very, very skeptical. So, we'll see. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
May I change the subject?
Anytime. This is Open Line Talk Radio.
Sometimes you use the word abnormal, and that reminds me of the movie Young Frankenstein.
That's where I got it.
With Marty Feldman, and I was just thinking of him. He's deceased now, but he was certainly a great actor and a comedian.
Happens to be one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And the abnormal, of course, referred to the brain.
Yes, he picked out the wrong cadaver, I think, if I remember right.
That's right. The fellow who was his assistant, and I'll never forget him looking at it and screaming, "Abby-normal!"
Yes, I remember that. And Marty Feldman was the person who goofed, and I just thought he was just really a funny actor.
All right, I appreciate your call. Well, while we're on the subject of movies, there's one you ought to check out. It is so sad. It came on this morning, and I couldn't believe it. I think it was on Cinemax or something after I got off yesterday morning, and I saw it coming up, and I taped it. Really did want that movie, but it is so sad. So sad. It is the saddest movie I have ever seen. It is so sad that I couldn't watch it again. I taped it because I want it, and one of these days when I'm in sort of some sort of melodramatic mood, I'll sit down and watch it again. I have seen the entire movie. It's called Testament, and it is about the aftermath of a nuclear war. And it is the saddest. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but, so it's running now, and a few more times this month. If you get a chance to see Testament, see it. And, keep a crying towel nearby. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, Art.
Yes.
This is Brian outside of Houston.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah, I've talked to you a couple times before.
Yes, sir.
I got two things to talk about. One is, one thing you'd be interested in, Ultimate Fighting Championships coming on this Friday.
Do you think it'll be any good?
I think it's got 2 super fights.
What number is it now? What are they up
number
to?
9.
Number 9, huh? All I can tell you is the last time I watched, I was disappointed. There was not enough violence.
Have you tried watching Extreme Fighting?
Is that better?
Another variation of it.
Really?
And they do more stand-up fighting.
Really? That's what I like. I mean, they get locked down on the ground and it turns into a wrestling match, and I get bored.
More grappling is, crunching.
Well, I mean, we gotta have some bone crunching. And,
yeah. Also, I got a suggestion about the Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just herd a bunch of goats in there and wait for the Chupacabra to take them care of?
Boy, that is cruel. That really is cruel. And put up little, Chupacabra invitations on the fence all the way around.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, sir. You're pretty... Anyway, thank you. Right. The 8th Amendment requires me to end this call now. Any further discussion along those lines, and the 8th Amendment police would come and close me down.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. Works presents Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM. from May 15th, 1996.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be here. Bob Dole's quit the Senate. Going to run full time for the presidency. Will not do it. Can he get the women? Can he get the independents? Can he keep Mr. Buchanan in check so his own party isn't torn apart? All really good questions. How and what to do with the Freeman? That's the other thing we've been talking a lot about. How to end that situation without violence. Listen, a little heads up for you on Dreamland. Coming up this week, May 19th on Dreamland, Brad and Sherry Steiger, authors of The Teaching Power of Dreams and the Mysteries of Animal Intelligence. That should be good. We've been wanting to get Sherry Steiger on here for a long time, along with Brad. They're great guests. Coming up June 2nd, Dr. Pepsi Togar, author of Why God Wants Us to Dream. June 19th, Dr. Angela Brown Miller, author of Embracing Death. Whoa. June 23rd, Paul Stonehill, researcher of Russian and Chinese paranormal phenomena. June 30th, Robert G. Teets, author of West Virginia UFOs, Close Encounters in the Mountain State. And then July 7th, Mike Rogers and Travis Walton, authors of Fire in the Sky, The Walton Experience. So that gives you a little heads up of what's coming up on Dreamland in the near future. I just got a fax here that is astounding, and I guess I'm going to just have to give it to you and ask you if it happened. It's from Keith and Edie at Cogo, San Diego. Art, I just saw on CNN a report of a Chupacabra attacking another Chupacabra. There was no blood left at the scene of the attack. Witnesses claim there was only a blur of fangs and red eyes. Ooh, have any of the rest of you heard that? A Chupacabra fight? Wow. Anybody want to do what ifs? Art, what if? What if God came down to Earth and gave the planet a few scenarios? Somehow I don't think God gives scenarios. We do that. Anyway, we the people of the planet would be able to make the choice, but majority would rule, and only one plan could go into effect. All right, well, let's see what it is. 1. In 6 months, God would end the existence of the planet, and all those worthy would come to heaven to be with him for eternity. All those who were not worthy would go to hell. Pretty similar to what many believe is going to happen. Only this time God gives us the exact time and date of the end. 2. God would give us the gift of reincarnation. However, no one would ever be able to go to heaven. And he would never return. He'd give up on us because we would choose this world over his heaven. Ooh, cool. God would simply, this is number 3, God would simply leave. We would not be reincarnated, but we would also never have to deal with karma or with his rules and commandments. We'd be able to live life however we wanted and never have to have any spiritual consequences for anything we did. In other words, sir, like modern life today, right? From what I gather, these are pretty much the 3 major types of afterlife structures. Well, what do you guys think? 1, in 6 months, God would end it all here on the planet and divide us up between those going on the up escalator and those going down. God would give us the gift of reincarnation, but nobody would ever go to heaven. In other words, we'd just keep coming back again and again and again. And 3, God would give up on us and leave. Of those 3, what would you choose? Oof. Look, we well understand the Freemen are listening to this program, and so is the FBI and the ATF and everybody out there. Art, flood the Freemen out. Just as you would fight a fire, keep pouring water in, making their habitat uncomfortable. That plus the sound of constant water rushing in has to eventually drive them out. Bill in Vegas. Or this. How about giving the Freemen a dose of HARP to confuse them and render them ineffective? Then the Freemen and the government would think exactly alike. Our black project money would have a practical use. No one would get hurt, and we could forget the whole thing. Sam in Seattle. Well, Sam, I doubt they could focus it that carefully, so the people of Jordan and adjacent Montana communities would also begin to get very confused. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Art?
Okay.
Hey, listen, man, I was listening to your show last night.
Yes.
And you had a caller on there last night that was talking about, the Chupacabra?
Chupacabra.
Okay.
We're going to teach everybody to get this one right. Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
You've got it.
All right. Listen, I was taping that show last night.
Yes.
And I replayed it back last night. And that guy said he had some tapes he was going to ship you.
Yes.
Did you know that if you rewind the tape and so forth and listen to it repeatedly?
Yes.
He didn't call it a chupacabra. He called it sounded like he said something about a T-probe or something. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, it's on the tape that I've got, and I was wondering if you have I know you keep copies of your tapes.
Well, the network does. I don't. I don't listen to my own programs. I can't handle it.
Oh, okay, because he called it some kind of a T-probe or something. And I'm wondering if this guy knows a little more than he let on to.
Was that playing it backwards or forwards?
If you play it forward.
Okay.
But you had kind of talked over the top of him for a second, and he was saying something about chopping up a T-probe. Is what he said. And it kind of struck me odd that he didn't call it a chupa. So I rewound the tape and just kept, rewinding and listening, and that's what I heard.
Well, try listening to it backwards.
Well, what I was wanting to know, Art, is, did this guy just hang up on you or whatever? I mean, did he ever give you any information as to...
Well, it's on the way, as he said. He's going to ship me a tape. So I will let you know when and if such a thing shows up. We'll see. About half, maybe a little better than half of the people who call and say they are going to, they're going to send me a tape do. On the first-time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello, Art.
Hello.
This is Kate from Portland.
Hi, Kate.
Hi. I'd like to make a comment about the men that are holding out.
Yes.
I have a theory about that. I think the federal government is just playing to the American audience. They want the American audience to understand that they've tried everything under the sun.
I know.
Once the public gets impatient with these people because they don't make peace, I think they'll move in and they'll really lower the boom on them.
There are initial signs that may be close to occurring, because public sentiment seems to have shifted, and a lot of the public is beginning to get impatient. I mean, there is the law, and you know damn well if you broke it, they wouldn't think twice about moving in on you.
That's right. They cannot stand rebellion. We know that.
Well, I don't think that you can let an example of we've got guns and so you can't touch us. They can't really let that stand.
No.
They just can't.
I know.
No matter how it might come out in court later, I would say these guys ought to walk out of there now.
I think so too. To save their lives, I think they should too.
I really do. Thank you very much for the call, and that would be my advice to them. Even though I don't agree with their cause, I would say at this point, you really ought to come out, and at the very least, you certainly ought to get the women and children the hell out of there. And that's what real men would do, knowing what is probable. If you're going to fight it out, if that is what you decide to do, then that's, I guess, your choice. I'm talking to them now. It really is your choice, and I know that maybe that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't take the women and children with me. If you're going to have bullets end this, then get them out of there. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Hi.
Hi, great. I love your show. I have a question and I have a comment.
All right.
First, my question. I'm very interested in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence that's going on right now.
Yes.
And I've been thinking a lot between between President Clinton and President Bill. Who do you think would be more supportive of the program, of allowing this to take place as fast as possible before radio interference gets in the way?
Who would be more supportive of SETI?
Yes.
I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. I know it's an interesting question. Who would be more supportive of SETI? Well, with Bill Clinton, if he thinks it would do him good, he would support it. With Bob Dole, I'm not sure. I want to interview Bob Dole. I've pretty well decided I want to interview Bob Dole. As you know, I've been sort of wishing for that for the last couple of months. I want to get to know him myself. And I want you to get to know him. There was a bit of a step in that exact direction yesterday. He came across as very human. And maybe if Bob Dole comes to the American people and articulates, it's got to be more than just the humanizing of Bob Dole. It's got to be, we've got to understand what Bob Dole wants for America and what kind of president Bob Dole would be. What would he really do when he got to office? And I guess I can know that through the interview of others, but I would very much like to ask him some of these very serious questions. The questions, frankly, that I think most Americans have. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Art, how in the world are you?
Very well, sir. Thank you.
Good. This is Ken from Arkansas.
Right.
I had a question about the standoff up in Montana.
Where are you, by the way, in Arkansas?
I'm in El Dorado.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I have a novel idea, I think. Why don't we try and by the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Article 5, 6, and 7, which basically states that they have a trial by a jury of their own peers. Now,
yes, what does that mean?
Well, what that means is, like Patrick Henry quoted. Let me find the quote here.
These would be, in my opinion, any qualified citizens to serve on a jury.
Well, that's the common misconception, Art. And the truth is,
yes,
is the way our founding fathers set it up, Art.
Yes.
Peers. Here's the Patrick Henry quote.
Yes.
They were debating it in the state conventions on the adoption of the federal Constitution.
And?
He says, by the Bill of Rights, a subject has a right to a trial by his peers.
Yes.
What is meant by his peers?
Right.
Yes. Those who reside near him, his neighbors, and who are well acquainted with his character and situation in life.
Well, all right, that would be then the people of and around Jordan, or
exactly.
in Montana.
Exactly.
And I would say that doesn't mean necessarily sympathetic to their views.
Well, probably
but
not.
Familiar
Okay.
with their situation. And I'll tell you something. I had the lines here open to Montana for 2 solid days. I took calls.
I'm with you.
And there are fewer sympathetic people to the freemen in Montana than there are in any other state I talk to.
Okay, well, that may be the case, Art, but it's a lot better to be dragged off to a federal court where you're not only the plaintiff, but you're the judge also. Mm-hmm. In other words, the plaintiff in this case is the federal court, okay? They're the ones who filed the charges. Now, they're also going to try the case and judge it? That's not fair. What's fair is to be judged in their own state by their own peers, by people who know them, are acquainted with their lifestyle, who know these people.
All right. Well, look, I that's fine. That is a reasonable definition, and in fact, if that's what occurred, I think they wouldn't stand a chance. Not based on what I've heard from the people that have called from Montana. If anything, there is less support for them in Montana than anywhere else. Those who seem to know them best like them the least. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Hello, Art.
Hi.
This is Jay in Glendale, Arizona.
Yes, hi, Jay.
About this Chupacabra.
Yes.
I was wondering, what other animals has it preyed upon besides goats and sheep?
Chickens, dogs, various, almost any kind of farm animal, and now humans.
Any reports of cats?
No reports of cats yet.
Well, I was wondering because I have 17.
You have 17 cats?
Yes, unfortunately.
Have you lost your mind? I have 3 cats. And these guys, eat and, eliminate at a rate that I simply couldn't in my mind project to 17. I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, I think 3 cats is probably about 2.5 too many. But, I make do.
Thought of half a cat is pretty ugly, sir.
Did you see on CNN about a day or two ago, they made a very lighthearted report of the Chupacabra in Mexico?
Well, they've been making, the reports are beginning to run on a regular basis now on CNN, so.
Yeah, I haven't seen any recent ones, but they seem to not take it very seriously.
Latest report we've got is of 2 Chupacabras fighting.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
It may be fighting. Or it may be the Chupacabra version of reproduction. We don't know.
Sort of like Klingons, huh?
Oh, please.
Oh, about the guy with the J-toe?
Yes.
It kind of reminds you of a Roadrunner cartoon, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Except it's actually very tragic.
Okay, that's all I want.
All right, thank you. See you later. Yeah, he put a jet-assisted takeoff thing on the back of his Chevy and plowed into a mountain at about the 125-foot level, which means he was airborne for quite some time. Anyway, that whole thing is up on my webpage, by the way. And so if you would like to go to my webpage and download that and some of the other things, what I try to do, when I read something that gets a lot of response from all of you, I try to put it on the webpage. And so the jet-assisted taking off Chevrolet is up there, and you can go get it. It's www.artbell.com. That's www.artbell.com. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Art. How are you doing this morning?
I am fine.
Good. Let me turn my radio off.
Good. Where are you?
Memphis, Tennessee.
Excellent. WMC. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just wondering on this, the thing going on that y'all, I obviously had the lines open the past couple of days talking, and I was unable to catch your show. What exactly is this group of folks doing that, they haven't been able to decide what to do with them yet?
You mean the Freeman?
Yes.
They are a group of farmers in Montana who had, for one reason or another, bad luck and lost their farms, and they were about to be foreclosed on and a lot of other things. They had tax troubles. And so they decided they were going to get, they were going to hold themselves up.
Yeah.
And they began to issue liens, in other words, become a law unto themselves, and issued liens against certain public officials and state officials, and then began to write checks against the liens.
Ah.
And, of course, nobody had really paid into the liens, so the checks were naturally hot.
Right.
And so now they're holed up with guns, and it's a standoff. I mean, that's what's going on out there. It's a standoff. Federal government's not moving, probably politically scared to death after Waco and Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, but this is a little bit more advanced than the Waco thing, huh?
Well, it's different.
Yeah.
I don't know about advanced. It's different. That's for sure.
Well, I was just wondering about it, why they haven't made a decision what to do out there, because I had heard, of course, you hear a lot of things.
Well, what would your decision be?
Well, not knowing the entire situation just based on what you've told me, everybody has bad luck. I've been in several businesses myself that didn't work out.
Sure.
And I didn't go crying to somebody else to, help me out. I just went on and did what I had to do to start a new business and get going.
Yeah.
And, I understand hard luck. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer to get back on their feet or what have you, but, if you're just in a crisis situation where obviously nothing's going to work, you don't make up your own rules. I mean, obviously they've decided to set up their, little lanes and stuff that I'm not really sure would be something that they could legally do.
So then if you were in charge, you'd basically tell them, look, come out peacefully or there's going to be a very dynamic entry.
Exactly. And
all right. All right, sir. Listen, I've got to run. We're at a break. What you've said is clear, and maybe we ought to be surveying the audience on that generally this morning. Has it gone long enough, folks? Is it time for the FBI and ATF to move in? Are they not subject to the same laws that all of us are? And if you decided you were going to hold off the police with guns, what do you think the police would do in your town? We'll be right back.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. Now, we take you back to the past on Art Bell Somewhere in Time.
Top of the morning, everybody. Now, 271 affiliates strong. This is Coast to Coast AM. It's good to be here. It's an amazing thing to me. You know, we're going to be celebrating 300 radio stations before very long, and that blows me away. It really, really blows me away. Radio. Great Solution Art set up large video screens around the Freeman compound and broadcast Al Gore speeches continuously 24 hours a day. And when they finally fall asleep, walk in and take them. That's Madison, Wisconsin Mike. There seems to be no doubt that the Freeman broke the law and should be arrested. But don't you think they ought to be arrested by local, county, or state authorities? As the crimes are not federal in nature. Well, yes, they are. Don't you think the public might be more supportive of the authorities if other criminals who wear federal badges were prosecuted instead of being rewarded? Yeah. Dear Art, thought you'd like to know that during a discussion about HARP last Monday night with Dr. John Rasmussen, the diagnostic supervisor from Philips Labs in charge of HARP, he said in front of witnesses that ham radio operators were heating up the ionosphere when they're transmitting because there were thousands of them, all transmitting globally, as he put it. I stated ham operators were only allowed 1,200 watts max. The antennas weren't pointed vertical, but rather horizontally, to bounce the signals to their destination. As a former ham, I think the ARRL and all ham operators need to know that the harpies are trying to put the blame for what they're going to do or about to do to the ionosphere on us. What do you think? Richard in Glen Allen, Alaska. Yes, sir, I agree with you. This guy's one card or two cards short of a full deck. I don't know where the hell he gets off saying this kind of thing. It's ridiculous. Of course hams transmit globally, but they don't transmit with antennas designed to put a narrow bandwidth, intense signals into one particular portion of the ionosphere. So I don't know where this guy's getting off. This scares me, because if they're really trying to pass the buck, as it were, for what they're about to do, that means they're about to do something serious. We better keep an eye on them. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, Art.
Yes, sir.
This is Shane from Texas.
Hi, Shane.
I just wanted to say I thought the top story tonight was the votes in for Dole. I think Dole will be the next president of the United States.
Well, he's got some work to do, Shane.
I know that, but I really believe that he made a wake-up call tonight. I've been waiting for him to open his dang mouth. And he opened his mouth, and I swear to you that we're going to see a lot of new things coming out of the Republican Party. I think this is a wake-up call.
Well, it may be. I hope it is. Now, you know, what he's done, I believe, in resigning from the Senate is exactly the right thing. I mean, it's an all-or-nothing proposition.
I agree with you,
anyway,
100%.
Because, you know, he's older now, and he's probably ready to wrap up his Senate career.
I believe he earned the presidency of this country.
No.
Whether he makes a mistake in it or not, I think he has a right at a shot at it.
All right. Well, I appreciate your call. I disagree with that. He has not earned it. You don't earn the presidency. The presidency is not an automatic award done or given for work well done. It just isn't. It's something that you get because you have convinced the American people that you are going to take America in the right direction. It's not a reward for good congressional service or long congressional service, and you do not automatically accede to the presidency of the United States because of tenure. He's done the right thing. Bob Dole has done the right thing. Leaving the Senate, leaving the majority position that he had is definitely the right thing, and what the hell? It's going to be a grinding, rough battle for the next 5 or 6 months, whatever it is. It's going to be rough, and he's going to have to devote his full attention to it, or he does not stand a chance. And maybe he does have a chance now. But you definitely don't sort of earn the presidency. Well, you earn it, but you don't. It's not automatically conferred upon you because you have so much tenure. That's not the nature of the presidency. So this is a good beginning for Bob Dole. Good beginning. Now, if he capitalizes on this and if he begins to put his energy into campaigning, well, you never know. You never know. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Good evening, Art. I've got a letter from Leroy Schweitzer from the Springfield Medical Center last week. Would you like me to read it?
No. You're welcome to tell us or give us an idea of what's in it, if you like.
It's a letter that's made a public record already.
Yeah. What basically does it say? Do not read it, though.
Okay. Well, he just it's a letter to his friend here in Bozeman.
Yes.
And he states about what's basically what's going on there with him and his trying to get this thing to come to court. And he talks a little bit about the new judge and the new judge is allowing him to have local rules. We could enter the papers into the court with, and they didn't have to follow the local rules. They could enter these papers with any heading they chose.
Well, what do you think ought to happen now? Do you think they ought to walk out? Would you urge them to walk out? And if they don't, how much longer should the law enforcement people wait?
Well, I personally don't believe the FBI has any authority in Montana, so I think as soon as the FBI pulls out that these people would immediately surrender to the local established sheriff.
Why?
Why would they surrender?
Yes.
Because they know their life is in danger, and they know they want this thing to come to court.
Well, if they think they're
not going to be able to come to court because they've got papers and documents in that house that are going to turn this nation up on its end.
All right.
And the only way that
what kind of paper? What kind of papers and documents are you talking about?
They've got documents and papers on the Federal Reserve System primarily.
So what?
For being able to create money out of thin air.
So what? Congress authorized the Federal Reserve to do what it does.
Well, that is against our Constitution. It's illegal. They shouldn't be able to print money. Congress is the only people able to print money.
Well, look, even I don't want to really get into that argument because it'll go nowhere fast.
That's all right.
But even assuming that argument is correct, there's no way in hell that justifies their wrong. No way.
They're wrong as far as which aspect. They've got 51 indictments against them.
Yeah, well, all right. In other words, to issue liens and then bereft of any payment on those liens or even the legality of those liens to issue checks. That's called writing hot checks. Now,
first of all, those they aren't checks.
And it is
they're
not
loan drafts, and they are legal.
It is not justified, sir. It is not no, they're not legal. If there are not funds to cover them, they're not legal.
There are funds to cover them.
No, there aren't.
That's why the problem is the Internal Revenue Service has already...
All right, I've had enough. The IRS is the problem. The Federal Reserve is a problem. What a total crock. Look, the argument about these agencies and your gripes and bitches with them aside for a second, there's no way they can sit and talk about the Federal Reserve or the IRS or anybody else or the fact that they didn't have the money to pay their mortgages and justify what they're doing. It doesn't work that way. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hello, Art.
Hello.
Yes, this is Ken in Fort Wayne.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Art. Yourself?
Fine.
You say the Freemen are listening to your broadcast, do you think?
No doubt about it.
Art, can I make a short appeal to them?
Yep.
Freeman, listen, I'm a militia officer back here in Indiana. I'm begging you, please give it up, come out, surrender. If this keeps going, the government will have to move. What's going to happen is other people will jump in the fracas. It will escalate, escalate, escalate. Innocent blood will be spilled. Mm-hmm. The blood will be on your hands. God Almighty will judge you, not me, on that basis. I'm begging you, as a fellow American, a patriot, and a veteran, come out. Let's not kill any innocent souls.
All right, well said, sir. Well said. That is exactly what's going to happen. This thing could so easily escalate. It's a tinderbox. One little spark, one little shot, the violence begins. Others will join in. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to follow along with that one and see where that's going. So that's a good appeal. And, I say I'm pretty doggone sure we would have the largest signal over that area from probably a dozen radio stations, so they couldn't miss us. Sure, they're listening. And I have absolute evidence the FBI and BATF listen. So I don't think it's going to go on very much longer. I really don't. I think there is going to be, at some point, a dynamic entry if they don't come out. There has to be. It just can't go on and on forever. And I noticed that a lot of the people who are calling non-militia types are beginning to say, what's the big wait about? I mean, come on, these guys broke the law. After a while, it's going to serve as a reverse example. As the IRS is able to intimidate by, busting some big high-profile person and scaring everybody else, so eventually that psychology will overcome the reluctance of the FBI and BATF to do anything or to do nothing or to wait them out. Eventually that argument will prevail. Otherwise, the exact opposite occurs, and people will begin to conclude that if you hold off the law with guns, you can succeed. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art, I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
What is the name of your closing theme?
Well, it is, I can tell you it's Cusco.
Okay.
But I can't remember the title.
Egg. Do you know what album?
It might be a Permac 1.
Permac 1, okay.
Yeah.
And another quick thing about Chupacabra.
Yes.
I can remember about 15 years ago, someone reported seeing something like this in the Cascade Mountains here in Washington State. But I can't remember the details. I think this thing flew, but I really can't be sure.
Well, it may be a pet to Bigfoot.
Or it could be something like the Jersey Devil. I don't know.
Could be.
But this happened like about 15 years ago.
Whatever it is, it's really out there.
There's something going on, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you very much for the call. Sure there is. There's definitely really something going on out there. There really is a creature doing this. The hell could it be? I hope that it does not look as it has been pictured and described by witnesses, because it's just really scary. Really scary. We don't really know the sound it makes yet. I don't even know if I want to know. I'm not surprised, though, at its appearance. Everything else is happening. Why not a monster? First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. On the Freeman deal there,
That's right.
I kind of think, why has it, in the past, and with this deal too, has the FBI and the ATF, why have they not, captured or apprehended these people, you know, right off the street instead of having to go out and make a big force show of themselves anyway.
Well, as you must know, sir, they did apprehend a couple, Schweitzer, when he went to the post office, I believe, as well as the other man. But there are many involved in this, so they took the two most important people, you know, the old cut off the head of the snake thing, so they did do that this time.
Oh, I see. Well, I hadn't heard that. Okay, well, thank you a bunch.
Thank you, sir. The question is, what now? And when? And how long do you wait? It is a careful balance they're playing with. On the one hand, you don't want to look like you're running the places, the homes down with the tanks and all the rest of that. You don't want another Waco hanging on your head. But you also don't want a situation where the American people begin to realize that apparently political power, even in America, does flow from the barrel of a gun. That's the last damn thing we want. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Yes, Art.
Hi.
My name is Mike. I'm calling from Carson City.
Hi, Mike.
I've been a little bit upset about the fact that you've mentioned that you're getting no calls about the Freemen from Montana.
No, I didn't say that.
Well,
you misheard it. In fact, quite to the contrary. I took 2 full days of nothing but calls from Montana about the Freemen.
Well, the reason I was curious or a little bit upset about it is I used to work in the switcher for the 702 area code in Nevada.
Yes.
And I know that the capability is, with the technology today, that any call originating from the state of Montana, especially when you say the FBI listens to your show,
sure,
they know right now where my call is originating from.
I suppose if they wanted to investigate, they could find that out. Anytime you make any long-distance call somewhere, there's a record.
Well, the thing is, they can key on that. In other words, if they're monitoring your phone lines, they can tell instantly where the phone call is originating from.
So what?
And if anyone comes out and supports the militia of Montana from the state of Montana, there'll be two guys in a car parked out front in 15
that's
minutes.
A crock.
Well,
that's a crock.
Well, I know.
You're telling me, look, there's still such a thing as freedom of speech, and you can damn well call up and support the Freemen vocally if you want to, without fearing retribution from the government. Come on, that's a crock, sir. That's just not true.
Well, I know the technology, and I know it's there.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I know it's there. We all do. Any long-distance call you make, if they have to, they can trace it. Hell, they can even trace cellular calls now.
Well, I know they know it right now.
Yeah, but, so what?
Well,
so what? Are you honestly so damn paranoid that you think because somebody would call and express their First Amendment right to support the Freemen, if that's what they feel, that the FBI is going to have a car in front of their house? No way.
No. What I'm saying is people up there want to keep a low profile. That's why they're there.
No, you're trying to explain what otherwise is inexplicable, except with one answer, and that is the people in Montana, for the most part, are scared to death of these guys and don't support them at all.
No.
Yes.
All I'm saying is
I am.
There are people.
I am, sir. I am saying that. I took 2 days of calls, and that's all we got.
I can't listen to your show every day. All I know is what I'm hearing tonight.
Well, what I'm telling you is I took 2 days of calls, all right? Must have been 50, maybe 60 calls from Montana. Not one of them supported the Freemen.
Well,
I'm
not supporting them either. All I'm saying is I know that if I just wanted to stay where people didn't bother me, irregardless of what I thought.
Well,
I would not call you.
All right, thank you. Look, if you were so scared or paranoid that the feds would close in on you if you made a phone call to a talk station, then why'd you call? That's a crock. The FBI does not go hunt people down who have opinions. The FBI and the BATF may go take a look at somebody who makes a threat. You can't threaten somebody's life. You cannot call for insurrection. They might get interested in that. But, to imagine that the FBI closes in on anybody with a divergent opinion is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It has not come to that. Big Brother is not in charge now. The thought police are not the ones calling the shots. No matter what you may think, it ain't so. America is still, by and large, a free country. The First Amendment is certainly alive and well. Listen to the debate going on in the media. Not just here, everywhere. How often do you hear about the feds closing in on somebody because they made a call to some talk show? That's, on the face of it, ludicrous and untrue. And it's a product of the building paranoia that's out there. And it is building. And it is headed toward a climactic, dynamic ending, I'm afraid.
The trip back in time continues with Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM. More Somewhere in Time coming up. You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from the 15th of May, 1996.
It's open line, talk radio. Good morning, everybody. Whatever's on your mind is fair game. Bob Dole has quit. He's going to run for the presidency full time. A lot of people almost excited. Chupacabra news. The Freemen, I guess the Freemen have been the main topic all night, trying to figure out how to get them out of there without violence. If you have any ideas about that, you're welcome to chime in on that or anything else. Any subject, fair game. To the phones we go. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And, well, it's wet and rainy over here in California. Had a stretch of real hot weather, and now we're getting 50s and 60s and all kinds of stormy weather.
Thank you for the weather report.
Well, no problem. I just wanted to say something now that I got that out of the way, trying to get rid of the jitters. Finally got through. I've noticed that there is some incongruity with some of the things that you say.
Okay. There probably is.
Yeah. Well, with most of us. But one thing that you said just a few minutes ago was that you felt that there was like a growing paranoia.
Yeah, and I thought that call illustrated it very well. I mean, the caller was suggesting, in effect, that the only reason people from Montana didn't call on the side of the Freemen is because their call would be traced and there'd be FBI guys in front of their house. Now, that's a pretty accurate quote.
Okay. Now, what do you believe is the reason that they're holed up in Montana?
Well, I think they're holed up because they don't want their farms repoed. Mm-hmm. They're holed up because they don't have any money. They're holed up because somebody has convinced them that they can pluck money out of the air by issuing liens. Mm-hmm. Their own law unto themselves, and you got guns and you hold people off, and that's how you operate. Right. That's exactly what they're doing.
Okay, now let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How do you feel about attempts on gun control?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I own guns, period.
Right. Okay, so if the majority of the public, and it's pretty obvious that the majority of the public does favor some kind of gun control, if the government was to be more strict with the owning of guns, how would that sit with you?
Not well. We have the Second Amendment. It seems clear to me.
Right.
As much as I support the First and the Fourth and the Eighth, even the Eighth, and the rest of them, I support the Second. Don't you?
Well, I believe that times change and people change.
Really?
And
the Constitution grows old, moldy, and not true anymore?
No, it doesn't grow old and moldy, but as you know, the Constitution can be changed.
Oh, it can, yes.
And
not a very good idea, but it could be.
But my thing is on the one hand, you call people who, and rightfully so to an extent, people that are holed up.
Oh, no, wait a minute, sir. Don't confuse gun control
Why not? That's an issue
no.
that you feel strongly about, isn't it not?
No, don't confuse gun control with taking guns and holding off the law.
Okay.
Please.
Art, if it becomes
that's not an incongruity. It's a misunderstanding on your part.
No, let me ask you a question. If it came to the point that the government said all of a sudden, you cannot have guns anymore.
Yes.
And they were going to come and collect them, what would you do?
I'd be extremely upset. But
okay.
Wait a minute. First of all, that's not what's happening. So,
no.
Yes.
What action would you take?
Well, look, thank you for the call, but you're setting up, you are the one with the incongruity. Supporting the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms does not mean that you are justified in taking those arms and holding off law enforcement people. What's the matter with you? The Second Amendment supports your right to have arms, not to use them unlawfully. Do you know the difference, sir? It supports your right to have arms for self-defense, not to use them unlawfully, not to go into a 7-Eleven and blow away the owner, not to point the guns at FBI and ATF and start shooting. That is not what the Second Amendment says. Go back and read it again. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yes, hello, Art.
Hello.
Now listen, I just noticed something on what you were saying about the freemen of Montana and stuff like that. I got to ask you a couple of questions. Sir.
Yeah, fire away.
Okay. Well, one, you did say that you're quite well convinced that those lien drafts and so on like that are in essence fraudulent and
well, they're fraudulent in the sense that if you issue a lien and then you write a check against an account that is empty without the lien money having been put in it, you have, sir, written a hot check.
Well, excuse me, but can I give you some information here? The account was not empty. In fact, it was opened by Panama Paul Hatfield, the federal judge up there,
sir. But
at Norwest Bank, who then turned it over to the Treasury Department, and no longer then was a certified banker's check, but became a lien draft. You say this is the same thing the Federal Reserve is doing, is pulling money out of the air. On the full
yeah, I know that argument, sir. Look, people argue that argument all the time. Fine.
Well, listen, okay, Art, listen, I've got one thing to say. So far on
wait a minute, sir. Look, I'm going to shut you down until you listen. Is the Federal Reserve wrong in what they're doing? Huh? Is the Federal Reserve wrong in what they're doing? No, he's gone. Goodbye. I'm sick to death of this. We can argue until we're blue in the face about the Federal Reserve. Okay? We can argue until we're blue in the face about it, but there's no way in hell that two wrongs make a right. So even if you think the Federal Reserve is out to lunch, you don't make any damn case at all by calling up here and saying, well, they can do it if the Federal Reserve can do it. You're the one with the incongruity. If the Federal Reserve is wrong, then so are they. And that doesn't make it right, does it? And I'm not even saying the Fed is wrong. They may be doing some things I don't like, and they may in effect be creating money, but they're constitutionally, no, let me rephrase that. They are, by Congress, charged with doing what they're doing. Now, you may screech about the Constitution, and you may be right, technically. But that doesn't mean that people can sit in Montana or anywhere else, become a law unto themselves, and begin to write hot checks. That just doesn't wash. Wildcard line, you're on the air.
Good evening, Art.
Hello.
This is Matt calling from Dos Palos, California.
Hi, Matt.
It's my understanding that the Freemen, part of their big deal is they don't want to be citizens of the United States. Is that true or is that not true?
No, I don't know that that is true. They seem to be trying to suggest they are sovereign unto themselves, yes.
Okay. Well, if that is the case, I have a suggestion for them.
They'd probably say we are citizens of the many states or various states or something. I don't know.
Well, if they want to, all they have to do is pick a country, any country in the world, and I will personally buy them the airline tickets. If they don't want to be in this country anymore, then there's no reason why they should be here.
Well, I would think an offer like that would be something you could do after they have been apprehended the charges have been cleared, they've served their time or been set free or whatever, then that would be appropriate. Right now, they're in violation of the law. They're charged with crimes, and they need to come out and face that one. They'll have plenty of publicity. We all know it. So they need to come out and clear that, and then they can go anywhere they want to.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And otherwise than that, I didn't mean to come off as being chicken, but that's pretty much the way I feel. You are a citizen of this country. Your only responsibility that you are given as a citizen of this country is to obey the laws of the land. And if you can't do that, I don't think that you have any right to be here.
I appreciate your call, sir. And also, again, claiming the federal government is creating money, or the Fed is, from nothing, does not give you the right to do it. I mean, do you realize the argument that some of these people are trying to make? Well, they're only doing what the Fed's doing. Well, that's cool. No, it's not. No, it's not. If the Fed is wrong, then do something about the Fed. If there's constitutional problems with the Fed, then straighten those out. But you are not going to justify your illegal actions by citing what you believe to be the illegal actions of others. Doesn't work that way. Except in the minds of the affected. First-time caller line, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art, how you doing?
Okay.
Yeah, this is Matt from Houston.
Hello, Matt.
Hey, I want to see if you had caught that show Paranormal Borderline and that alien abduction thing they had on there.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. Very interesting.
Did you tape it?
Well, I didn't tape it. I saw it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting when I seen it. And have you got any more news on the Chupacabra sighting?
Well, I just got a report from somebody who sent a fax and said CNN is reporting that 2 Chupacabras were fighting. A mix of claws and red eyes.
Well, that sounds pretty interesting.
It does, yes. Thank you very much. Sure. Be better than a Habu Mongoose fight, huh, guys? Imagine 2 Chupacabras. Talk about an ultimate fighting championship. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, last night on CNN headline news at 1:30, they had a story about the Chupacabra down in Mexico,
right?
And what was going on with the people down there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I wanted to ask you a question. I remember when it came out about 4, 5, 6 months ago about the green cats in Sweden.
Oh, yes.
Has anyone heard anything else about that since?
No, the green cat is green. It's green cat.
Have they ever found out why? I remember they said they were going to test it.
No, I've heard no follow-up reports, but I do have a picture of the green cat. He's green.
Okay, well, let me just bring up one more thing and I'll let you go.
Okay.
It was about 3 to 5 years ago up in the Mount Rainier area of Washington. There was an article in the paper up there about a guy who was driving through the mountains, and all of a sudden his pickup truck stopped. And he saw this winged creature just kind of slowly fall out of the sky, and they had an article in the paper about it and a drawn picture of it. Now, somebody up in that area may remember that and may be able to fax you that article and tell you more about it.
All right. Well,
but it looked very much, the picture I saw in the paper looked very much like the pictures they had on CNN of hand-drawn chupacabras.
All right, sir. Thank you. Yes, well, there's something out there, all right. There's something out there, all right. What it is, I'm not exactly sure. What it's doing, there's no question about. Hundreds of animals now, hundreds. Some human beings. More reports every day. Hitting the mainstream press. It's real. It's a creature. Either new, old, it's come through. I don't have the slightest idea. Dumped off by a saucer, who knows? But there is something out there now. What is it? What does it want? How fast is it multiplying? Those are all good questions. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Leon from Eugene.
Eugene, Oregon. Yes, sir.
And just got your new newsletter today. or actually yesterday.
Quite a version, isn't it?
It is. I've got to tell you, I was absolutely tickled. I saw my picture in there.
Oh, you did?
I'm the bald guy.
Oh, yes. You are the man. I should tell everybody. Everybody needs to hear this. I signed this man's head.
Yeah, that was really something. I had no idea I'd see that in there.
Well, it was such a captivating picture that we had to put it in.
Yeah,
so
that was great.
Your head is now immortalized.
Yeah, it sure is. Well, I'm off work tonight. I work nights. I took the magazine to work last night and showed all the guys I work with, and everybody got a big laugh, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I bet. Did they recognize your head?
Yeah, most of them did. There were a few people that did not believe that was really me, and I don't know if they do or not now, but oh well.
Well, I certify it was you.
Yeah, that was great. I have to say too, I really enjoyed the book signing. I had a blast. I want to say one thing. I met a really nice lady that I went through the line with, and I took her picture with you, and I got her address to send her that picture. And her name's Helen, and she's from Seattle. And if she happens to be listening, I lost your address. And if she has mine. If I'd just love to send her that picture. If she could write me.
All right. Well, I bet she's listening. So Helen, send your address to him.
And also, I wanted to make a comment about last night. That was really a great debate.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was terrific. And Edgar Mitchell, I really have a lot more respect for him even than I did before. I really appreciate his approach of his real open mind, and but he wants the hard proof, and that's a lot like myself. I'm not one to jump to conclusions either, and that was really terrific.
Well, I appreciate that, and I thank you for the call, and I will say to everybody, that was the least expected, most amazing outcome of something that I thought was going to be so volatile that it wouldn't be able to be aired. You know what? East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hello, this is Randall from San Marcos.
From San Marcos?
San Marcos, Texas.
Oh, okay. Fine.
I was listening to the people saying that the Freemen could do what they were doing because the Federal Reserve was doing it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a sophomore in college, and I took a class called Introductory to Philosophy.
Yes, sir.
And there's actually a fallacy of logic called the you do it too fallacy.
I know.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely correct. And,
I just thought that was interesting.
It is interesting. It's a totally fallacious argument. It's ridiculous. It just doesn't work that way. You can never, ever justify wrongdoing by citing other wrongdoing. It just, at least for me, doesn't work that way. It's either right or it's wrong. Both cases, all cases. The law really is the law. And yes, that applies to the federal government and the Fed as well. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Well, hey, Art.
Hello.
This is Dan from La Grande, Oregon.
Hi, Dan.
KLBM, KUBQ, La Grande, Oregon, Baker City, actually.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I had a what if for you.
All right, I love them.
Well, what if those chupacabras, what if they weren't fighting? What if they were reproducing?
It could be that chupacabra love looks like a fight.
Well, cats are kind of that way.
I know you have a very good, if not slightly frightening point.
One more small, well, no, not a small, big what if. You were talking about these free men down there.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, we're all talking about how you go in and you're going to take over those guys and, do something with them. Well, that's what I think should go on. I think they're criminals. But what if instead of going in with force, you do the old Gandhi routine and go in there just unarmed, have your shirt off so they know you don't have any weapons on you. And, if they take 100 or so agents and surround the place and walk in and peacefully arrest them. You think it'd work?
No.
No, why?
Because I think the Freemen would start to shoot these people closing in on their...
What do you think the American response would be to that?
Well, I think it would be outrage, but it would be certainly irresponsible. I mean, if you were an FBI grunt,
yeah,
all right, and your guy said, all right, look, you got to take off your shirt, give up your gun, strip down to the waist, and head toward that house over there full of armed guys.
Well, that'd be pretty gutsy. I realize that.
I mean, what would your answer be?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't catch me doing it.
Well, see, there you are. My time with the FBI has been nice. Thank you very much, but I'll be going on to another career right now.
Yeah. Well, but that's what Gandhi would have done, don't you think?
Possibly that is what Gandhi would have done, but...
Well, I was just thinking the other end of the spectrum. We're talking about taking them by force and doing something with them, but I was just wondering how it would work on the other way.
You know what I wonder, sir?
Huh.
If the free men are such men, then why don't they send the children and the women out if they're bound determined to have this end in gunfire?
Well, and they seem to say that they're such godly people. I'm just saying, if you took them peacefully and they shot somebody in the course of doing so, would that be following their beliefs?
Well, they never said they were peaceful. In fact, there's a significant record, sir, that they have threatened local officials' lives, that they have issued warrants for the arrest of people under color of their own, what they call their own common law, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's nothing Gandhi-like about them, so I'll be damned if I'd strip down, head toward one of those houses, and get a bullet hole for your truck. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from the 15th of May, 1996. Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from May 15th, 1996.
From Jeremy in Bakersfield, California, he's thinking, Mexico, NAFTA, the great sucking sound, Chupacabra. Maybe that's what Ross Perot was talking about. I don't think so. But you never know. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Where are you?
I'm in West Lafayette, Indiana, Purdue University.
Oh, very good. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot. I've been trying to get through. I just tuned in 98.7. Just got back from the bars.
Okay.
And I had three things.
All right. Turn your radio off. That's number one.
Okay. Turn it down. Is that okay?
No, all the way off, please.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
First of all, this Chupacabra thing, I was just curious to know, I was, after I get off the line here, I was wondering if you can go in depth more, because I don't know anything about it. It's spawning my interest, and it's,
all right.
Pretty interesting. The second thing, the Freeman thing, maturity level, to know that there's people actually out there, thinking this way is beyond me. And the gun control thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The guy that was on there earlier, that you hung up on?
Yeah. The guy who was saying that gun control means what they're doing?
I don't understand. Is this guy, how old was he when he I am totally appalled the way that some of the people out there think. And I'm just hoping that there's not a whole lot of them, and just wanted to tell you that the guy is probably an idiot.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the call. He was confused, just confused. He somehow seems to be confusing the concept of gun ownership, the constitutional right to bear arms, with the right to use them illegally. I don't know how you get that confused, but he had it so. Now, with regard to the Chupacabra, it is an animal that was first apparently detected in Puerto Rico, then South America, Central America, Mexico, where it presently is causing havoc. It attacks its victims, leaves 2 marks on their neck, and withdraws all the blood of its victim. It seems to favor sheep. It's killed many, but also chickens, other animals, and now some humans. Reports have begun to come in of chupacabras in the U.S., California, Arizona, Texas, the border states. So whatever it is, it's moving fast. That's all we know right now. That's chupacabra. Where is it from? We don't know. Why is it here? We don't know. What's going to come of it? We don't know. But we're keeping track of it here. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. This
Hello.
is Shane from Texas again.
Shane, you're only allowed to call once.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
Okay.
thanks, Shane. One call per night, folks. One call per night. That be the rule. First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hello, Art.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Calling. This is Jay calling from Golden, Colorado.
Yes, sir.
And I'm calling regarding the Freeman
Right.
situation.
Sure.
I have some ideas on what could possibly be done to drive those people out.
What?
Well, first of all, I think the FBI or whoever is surrounding those people should divide into two groups. One is security team, the other is the harassment team. The harassment team should be totally armed with non-lethal weapons like rubber bullets, tear gas, anything that's non-lethal but could harass them.
There's only one problem with that idea, and I've thought of that too. If you have a gun loaded with rubber bullets and you shoot at somebody, they're probably not even going to know it's a rubber bullet. And if they've got a gun, they're going to shoot back, and I doubt theirs will be rubber.
Okay, well, let me finish.
Sure.
Let me finish. The harassment team should probably be I would think, would be put in armored vehicles. And what they should do is not directly attack any of the housing, anywhere where the free men are. Do not directly attack their housing, because the free men are looking for an excuse to, one, either shoot FBI agents or, as people did at Waco, kill the people inside, become martyrs by killing themselves and killing each other inside. And we don't want that to occur. So what I suggest is, well, from what I've seen on TV, these guys are riding around on horses and whatnot. Do things like drive their horses off. If they have wells outside, disable all their wells, poison them, or not poison them, but put mustard seed in them, whatever, make them undrinkable. And every day, set off tear gas at some distance. Like, for instance, start off a mile away. Get upwind, set off 10 tear gas canisters outside. Now, you may think that's ineffective, but believe me, at a mile upwind or downwind, you can smell tear gas.
Oh, yes.
And every day get closer and closer, but never put any tear gas do nothing directly against the compound, where they're inhabited. But believe me, if you set off tear gas every day around those houses and get closer and closer, they will become very, very uncomfortable. And particularly if you're getting to the point where you could drive around with your armored vehicles and keep them pinned up inside.
All right.
With the tear gas, and I would even consider high-powered searchlights at night being operated totally during the nighttime hours to completely illuminate the area.
Sure.
So that they would not have any way, unless they could cover their windows, they couldn't go to sleep because the lights would be penetrating their quarters.
All right, sir. Thank you. Harassment. I'm glad that I don't have to make the decision about what has to be done about the Freeman. There's a hell of a lot hanging on this, unfortunately. And it seems to me that law enforcement should be able to simply demand they come out as they would in any other situation, but this is politically charged. Memories of Waco and Ruby Ridge linger. The government is afraid, and with some cause. There's a lot of militia groups out there and fringe groups that are ready to come rush to the assistance of these people. And nobody in their right mind wants a war. But on the other hand, you just can't allow it to go on forever. You cannot allow people to flaunt the law at the point of a gun and the threat of deadly violence, or else that's going to be the way it's going to be. And anybody with a gripe, bitch, or whatever against the government or against their bank because their mortgages come due because they haven't been making payments, anybody is going to do that. I mean, it's going to become the thing to do. And they can't let this, you remember when George Bush said this will not stand? Well, this cannot stand either. But I'm sure glad I'm not the person trying to make a decision about when it's going to end. Hard. Very hard. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Dave. Liberal in Newhall. How you doing?
Dave, liberal where?
Newhall, California.
Newhall, all right.
I want to change the subject a little bit.
Go right ahead.
I think that the first thing we have to do to sort of get our country back on track is to stop identifying this republic as a democracy.
Well, I don't do that.
Well, I didn't say you did, but there's a lot of callers that call in. You know, I'm sitting here sort of looking at CNN. They got a big thing on democracy in America
Really?
and all this. And one of the things about democracy that people don't understand is that it's unstable and it's a dangerous system that has tended to destroy any society that adopted it.
Mm-hmm. Well, fortunately, that's just a mistake of the media, and they use the word, but really we're not a democracy. We are a representative republic.
Well, I don't think it's a mistake. You know, these self-styled liberals like Clinton, Feinstein, they use words to sort of manipulate the public's mindset. Mm-hmm. And when you get into that, when people start believing that this is a democracy, well, they're going to end up with everything that a democracy brings.
Well, you raise a very good point.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Art.
Thank you, sir. You raise a very good point. It is true that words count. And if people are given the mistaken impression that this is some sort of pure democracy, which it is not, then eventually, as the caller points out, it'll bring the problems that would be attendant with a real democracy, which basically is sort of anarchistic. And if you think we're in the process of voting largesse to ourselves now, try and imagine what would occur in a pure democracy. I'm caller line. You're on the air.
Hi, Art. I really enjoy your show.
Thank you. Turn your radio off, please.
It's off.
Good.
2 quick points. One is I wish people, if they want to change the Constitution, would follow the methods prescribed by the Constitution.
Yes.
Instead of just trying to throw it aside.
Yes.
But since the FBI, my second point is that since the FBI are listening, I think the best solution regarding the Freeman in Montana is to just declare all these people under house arrest, roll the barbed wire around it, start building cement, and just let them be. Drop the food in when they need it. That's done. Go home.
I really had thought of the same thing, and I recommended the same thing in Waco, that you literally make it a prison, roll the barbed wire around, as you suggest, and wait them out. You wouldn't need a big crew. It wouldn't cost the taxpayers a lot of money. You just wait them out. They're going to run out of food. They're going to run out of willpower. They're going to run out of no cable TV, no telephone, no electricity, probably no water. You need electricity to pump water. So, there's a lot of ways this could be done. I don't know what they're doing. Probably they are doing a lot of that, but you're right. I mean, put a big fence around place and say that's it, house arrest.
No one will get injured, and we don't even have to starve them out. Why put them in a federal prison? That's crammed full anyway, and
well,
keep them
no,
there?
look, it may get to that. What you're trying to do is get them to come out and face the charges that they legitimately must face. And eventually, under, the kind of circumstance you described, they would come out.
Potentially, or even if they didn't, when someone's arrested, generally the defendant comes to the court, etc., but they're not required. They don't want to go to court. They don't have to. Mm-hmm. And the prosecution puts its case and the defense puts its case. Well, we can just say, well, you don't want to come to court? Fine. We'll just hold the court, and if you want to present your case, that's fine. If not, well, we'll just set,
Okay, I listen, I think you're on the right track, sir. Thank you. But not quite. You could do that, but the goal would be to have them come out and face the charges, the legitimate charges that are made against them. That would be the goal. So the punishment, as a matter of fact, you would have, in effect, tell them, look, you are, in effect, under house arrest until you come out and face the charges. And so, in effect, you're in prison now, and you will face an additional sentence when you come out. So every minute you spend in there is not going to count toward what your eventual sentence will or will not be. That might be an effective way to operate. But whatever it is we decide, they decide, it's got to be headed toward an eventual conclusion that is no different than the one you and I would face. If we were accused of crime, you know damn well, they would come, they'd knock with a warrant, assuming that we don't hold them off with guns, they'd knock with a warrant, and we would have to go face the charges, right? Get a lawyer, face the charges. And that has got to be the outcome here. Otherwise, the message that goes out is, you can threaten law enforcement people, you can point guns, and you can get your way, and that cannot be allowed to stand. Period. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Art.
Yes.
It's Earl from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hello, Earl.
I got two what-ifs for you.
Sure.
What if Lee had won at Gettysburg? And what if Adolf Hitler would have won in Russia?
Well, I can sort of imagine both.
And I would like for you to point out to Charlie, next time he calls, that Sherman is considered an arsonist in the down south.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, can you imagine if Hitler had won? What would that be like? If the Nazis had eventually ruled the world, it would indeed be a very different place, wouldn't it? Horrible. Absolutely horrible. West of the Rockies, you're on the air, top of the morning.
Well, good morning, Art. This is Louis in Tacoma.
Hi.
Hi. Well, you know, somebody asked a question about that Chupacabra and why particularly goat blood or sheep blood.
Yes.
And it just came to me that it would be, I wonder if it goes back to even when they used to use goats and sheep for sacrificial
lambs
purposes, yeah, back in that time. And if Chupacabra was just something that might have escaped from a demonic realm, that maybe it was just something that Satan is kind of like using, or actually just let loose, only as a prelude to something else that might be coming. And so that we wouldn't really be shocked by it.
Maybe it's Satan's way of saying, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. It's not that he was ever gone, really. It's just that, yeah, that's just part of it. And then, you know, another thing that had crossed my mind was that perhaps it was something that was probably unleashed by the aliens. And then, of course, they'll come down and they'll save us, and then the aliens will be our buddies, and then, you know, like sheep to the slaughter, so were the goats to the Chupacabra, as man will be to the aliens, kind of a thing. But then on the alien issue altogether, there again, I wouldn't be surprised if they were part of Lucifer's fallen angels.
Well, that may be.
You know, because although, you know, biblically, God had, like, cast a lot of angels into the outer darkness and cast another bunch of angels and locked them up and chained them. Still, there has to be those few that might just wander back here because this is all they knew. Because this is, you know, at one time.
Have you heard of a movie called God's Army?
No, I haven't, Art.
It's actually now called The Prophecy. It was originally God's Army.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
The Prophecy with Christopher Walken.
Yeah, exactly. I saw that.
Wasn't that something?
Yes, it was. You know, it's,
Christopher Walken is the most perfect guy for that part. I mean, he gives me the creeps.
Yes, he does. But see, that's a sign of a good actor when you don't like him, or if they give you
or when he's a natural for the part. No, you're absolutely right. Oh man, he was incredible. You looked at him and you thought, it's the way he conducted himself. It was perfect. There could not have been a more perfect person for that part. Gave me the heebie-jeebies. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, yeah, I better turn down this area.
Oh, you've got to do that, yes.
Yep, okay. Well, I want to talk about Chupacabra real quick here.
All right.
Has anyone asked about a noise that it might make or a voice that it might have?
Well, its most notable noise is...
Oh, there's a strange noise, kind of a sucking noise. Okay, I've had a recent experience near my house. I live in the woods in Washington State, and I'm hearing a voice or a noise coming from the woods near my house.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's starting to feel bad.
That's bad. I wouldn't like that. It's like hearing a noise coming from your basement. It's bad.
Yeah,
very bad.
The noise that I'm trying to find is the...
Well, I can tell you how to test, sir.
Mm-hmm.
What you do is you solicit the assistance of a good-looking woman with large breasts. You put her in something very low-cut and send her into the woods.
Yeah, I've seen this happen a couple times.
Oh, it's in all the movies. And then, so if she is not attacked, you're safe. If she doesn't come back, time to move.
Yeah, time to move, right. Do you mind if I get a little serious on you?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. I had heard that you had a recording someone had played on the air about Sasquatch noise.
Oh, I do.
Okay. This is what I'm trying to get at, is that this noise doesn't sound like too many animals I've heard, and I've kind of gone through the list.
Is it really a horrible noise?
Yeah, it's a really kind of a longing moan or a...
Yeah. No, see, I wouldn't like that. I stand by my original statement. That's how you find out what it is, sir. I appreciate the call. You get some young lady to help you out. Find some reason to send her into the woods and see what happens. Yeah, guess she didn't come back. We'll be right back.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. In Time with Art Bell continues, courtesy of Premier Networks.
Art, the best thing to do is just leave the Freeman alone now. At least as far as media coverage goes, because to tell you the truth, I'm very tired of hearing about it. These guys are not any militia. They don't represent true patriots. They're just criminals who advocate criminal behavior, and they don't deserve the coverage they're getting. Jason San Clemente. And a lot of people probably feel that way, that the Freemen are giving the patriot movement a bad name. You know, well, that's true. Then there is this, Art, KNX News Radio down in L.A. at 210. According to a Sydney News Service report, says they have discovered a lake under the Antarctic. I said a lake. It is about 2.3 to 2.6 miles under the ice, or glacial field. It is about 1,600 feet deep. They think it'll contain microorganisms, millions of them, from millions of years ago. What else might be in there? They're going to drill down to it soon. Forget the moon. This is fascinating. Well, I've got to agree. That is fascinating. Can you imagine drilling down below the Antarctic to a lake that will go down 1,600 feet? What might be down there? Well, something that handles the cold very well and the dark very well. And probably nothing that a gal in a low-cut blouse would want to meet. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Morning, Art.
Good morning.
Dan from Federal Way.
Hi, Dan.
Yes, I have a comment about the Freeman situation.
What is your comment, Dan?
My comment is that...
Get close to the phone and make it a good, strong comment, Dan.
My comment is that we should bring in the military and give them 30 minutes to surrender.
Yes.
And if they don't come out,
yes,
level the place.
Level it, huh?
Because, in my opinion, they're just terrorists.
All right. Well, thanks. That plays right into the hand. See, all we need is a bunch of tanks to show up and military and flatten the place, as he said, and that is going to be the beginning of a civil war, and that's exactly what they're concerned with, and I don't blame them. What to do with the Freemen? It's got to be handled, and soon, or the wrong message is going to go out to those who would copy what the free men are doing. But it can't be a military kind of assault, or it's just going to feed the people that are ready to start you-know-what anyway. So I'm glad I'm not the person making that decision. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Art. This is God. And I've got a little message for you. Because I'm God, I ask you to help me with the Freeman problem. Just a second, let me turn the radio down.
See? Even God doesn't turn down his radio.
Yeah. Okay. I ask you to build an ark. Fill the ark with beehives and drop it behind the Freeman compound. When this is done, the women and children will come out first, and 2 days later, the men will follow.
Well, it's kind of ungodlike.
No, it'll work.
Well, I just somehow I don't think of God as concocting a plan like that, do you? Beehives, torture, that sort of thing. Not exactly godlike. I'm disappointed. Plus, the voice was all wrong. God would never sound like that. God would sound more like Ross Mitchell. Everybody knows that. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
KQMS in California.
Well,
You'd think God would have his radio off already.
you certainly would.
No. Okay, this is what you do for the Freeman. Everybody leave, and you send a message over to them saying that the New World Order government has landed in Billings and they are needed to support their country. And then they'll all run over there. How's that? That's bad, huh?
Oh, you just feed what they think anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, God, they're so... Well, they'd come running out.
Why don't we just send in Janet Reno in a low-cut blouse?
Yeah, boy, she... Oh, I was thinking, like, maybe we should, rain $100 bills down in the front yard.
Yeah, the new hundreds.
Yeah. They'd all go running out to get them.
God. They'd run out to collect the hundreds, right?
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Hey, you know what?
What?
You know what I was thinking?
What?
You know your box of parts?
Yes.
I just remembered that if you wrote it down, that I made a prediction in January that was after the Alien film came out, and I wasn't too impressed.
Yeah.
I said that somebody would have a box in their house and it would be full of Roswell evidence, and it would be the real smoking gun.
Well, did you make that prediction during our official prediction period, or was that after?
I think I did. I can't remember.
Well, I've got it all sealed in the vault.
Are you sure you wrote it down?
No, I'm not sure. If you made it during the official time, I wrote it down. If you made it after that, then it was already sealed. It's too late.
Hey, I'm going to tell you one more thing.
What?
My little girl got a new guinea pig.
I beg your pardon?
My little girl got a new guinea pig.
Yes?
She named it Hillary Clinton. And she's serious, too.
Really?
She loves the Clintons.
She does?
Yeah, so secretly I go in my bedroom and laugh. She named her guinea pig Hillary Clinton.
I understand. All right, my dear, thank you.
Good night, Buddha Belly.
Yeah, Buddha Belly. Some very impertinent person on one of the chat rooms on AOL the other day asked my wife if I have a bulging belly. Well, I've got a little belly here. And when I was in Bangkok, the young ladies liked to rub my belly, and they said it was good luck. And so as much as possible, I spread luck around. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, hi. I'm Carla from Oklahoma City.
You're who?
Carla.
Carla, all right.
Yes. I had a comment for that Charlie guy that called from California a while ago.
Yes.
And he was talking about how cowardly Dole was. Well, let's just remind him who the veteran is and who the draft dodger is, number one. And you were talking, Art.
My favorite line of the night was he called and said Clinton fell on a sword. I said, well, if he did, then he didn't impale.
Very good, Art. Very good. Also, you were talking about everybody's paranoid about the federal government, and
they are.
I mean, well, yeah, they are. But they've just recently admitted about the radiation experiments they did.
Yes.
Okay, and also about there's a disease that the veterans that have come over from Desert Storm, that have come home, that are bringing it to their families.
Yes.
And to their children.
Yes.
And all the things, being from Oklahoma City and the bombing, some of the stories were that the FBI and ATF, and there was one man on that top floor in the building, and the whole 7th floor was cleared out before the bomb went off. And the American people are paranoid, yes, but there are many reasons and evidence of why.
Look, yeah. Nobody, thank you. Nobody is saying that we should take our eyes off the federal government. I'd be the last one to say that. We have to keep our eyes on them. It's our job. And not all they have done is correct by a long shot. But it can go too far. The paranoia can easily, and in fact is, and has gone too far. And it's overdone. Not everybody has their phone tapped. Not everybody has to fear the federal agents coming to their door. Not everybody has to fear saying the wrong thing on a talk show and having the guys in a suit show up. It doesn't work that way. And that's what that caller was saying. He was just gone way too far. Now, does our government mix itself up in things it ought not be mixed up in? Carry sting operations too far? Even at times itself do things that are not legal? Yeah, they do. But by and large, the average citizen does not on a daily basis have to sit and tremble at the prospect of the guys in suits descending on them to do them harm. It is the great exception, not the rule. And to listen to some people, it is the rule. You can't speak up. You can't say anything or the feds are going to get you. Well, no, they're not. No, they're not. And this talk show proves it night after night after night. Card line, you're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Mike from Glendale, California on 790.
KABC.
Yeah, I would, if I were to talk to the Freeman, I'd say, Freeman, it's time to pack it in.
Yeah.
You've captured some media attention. You've made your point. Now come out. You're looking at 5 to 10 years tops, but at least you get a big trial, book deal, some credibility, a forum for your politics. If you stay in there, you're accomplishing nothing. You're just a group of nobodies with nothing going for them who wants to crash burn to cover your tracks.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. You know, I generally agree with that. It's time to come out. You know, let's think about it for a second. Your case will be watched and followed by the patriot community. They will see to it you are not railroaded. You'll get a fair trial. Stay in there. You're risking your women, your children, your life, the possibility of a civil war. Is that what you want? I can't believe that. I don't believe that. It's gone long enough. Don't make the government do what it inevitably is going to have to do with the attendant risks to life, yours, theirs, and frankly ours. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Good morning to you. Where are you?
Chris in Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Listen on WWTN.
Boy, it's a monster.
Yeah, it is. I got an idea for the Freeman.
All right.
If you'll remember back when they did all the major dam projects, they would bring concrete to it in these big buckets by helicopter.
Oh, yes.
You know, why don't we just bury him? Pull a Khrushchev on him and just bury him.
That would be...
Just fly over, drop concrete, just keep going until the house is just buried.
You mean kind of like the reactor in Russia?
Yeah, pull a Chernobyl burial on it.
That's kind of like the old Alfred Hitchcock things where they would brick people in alive.
You know, a cask of the Amontillado or whatever it is, like old horror story.
Pretty cruel, actually. Just great cement blobs.
I have a feeling that they will come flying out real quick when they realize that, hey, they're not going to stop dropping the concrete. If they don't come out, They never will.
Entombed in concrete. God, you guys are cruel.
Hey, they deserve it. They're criminals.
Oh, God.
They deserve anything they get. I mean, if we wanted to get really nasty, we'd just have the Air Force fly over and drop a fuel air explosive over it and just flatten the whole place.
This
This at least would give them an opportunity to come out.
Don't you think a fuel air explosion would upset the Patriot community?
Oh, immensely, but they got to prove what it was first. Hey, they could have had a propane tank explosion in there. We wouldn't know.
All right.
Government could say anything they wanted.
All right, sir. You should be immediately employed by Janet Reno.
No, I don't think so. I don't really care for that witch.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, but I mean, really? Buckets of concrete until they are entombed, like the reactor at Chernobyl? Sheesh. Fuel air bomb? I mean, really, you make Janet Reno look mild. Listen, they violated the law, but let's keep our heads here. Tombed like Chernobyl. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. This is Sally in Concord, California, KSFO.
Yes.
Listen, some of your callers have been kind of harsh about the treatment of the Freeman. I would recommend...
What do you think of the concrete thing?
Please. Man. I mean, it's reached the point where these people are going to die.
It's got to end.
So my suggestion is this. I don't agree with the Freeman, and I don't think it matters whether people agree or disagree. I think if they could try to reach the Freeman on a sort of human-to-human basis and just say, look, you're a human being, why don't you save your own life? Walk out. Just walk out.
Well, they have tried that, and they offered to drop state charges. They offered all kinds of things, and even Bo Greitz went in and talked to him. Bo came out and said, these people are not going to give up.
Well,
these people it's going to end badly. A lot of their psychology is similar to that at Waco, the Armageddon thing.
I understand that, but, sometimes people do change under stressful, conditions like they're existing under, and what I'm suggesting is that, like, people call your program suggesting that they come out to save their lives instead of these rather, juvenile comments, which I agree are frequently funny, but really this is really a tough issue.
It's actually very serious, and if it's handled the wrong way, it could actually start a civil war in America. If it's handled the wrong way, it could get a lot of good people killed. Yeah, it's a really serious issue, and they really need to think about coming out peacefully.
Can I ask you a couple of quick questions on other subjects?
Sure.
A little lighter. Did you actually quit smoking using nicotine patches?
No. Well, for brief periods. Actually, for a week, better than a week, I did. And the patches work. But you know what the problem is?
What?
When you take them off, then you want a cigarette.
Oh, God. Well, I was looking to you as my role model. I thought if you could do it, I could do it. Okay, I had to work Sunday night. I didn't catch Dreamland. Let me guess, was the Roswell analysis trash?
No.
No?
No, I replayed the analysis 2 nights ago.
God, I see here
on this program.
KSFO doesn't carry you until midnight.
That's when I did it. You weren't listening.
Well, please tell me.
Actually, I did it at 1 a.m.
Please tell me. I'm burning the candle at both ends.
Well, what
you
it did is
keep me awake at night. It's your fault.
They absolutely have verified my materials being extraterrestrial.
Are you serious?
No.
Okay.
No, it's aluminum, and it's pure extract aluminum.
Really?
And it has embedded in it some of the pieces, what in essence is sand, glass, sand, and there are striations as though it did impact something. And so it's going to, we'll have a written report sometime late this week, and it's going to metallurgy, so they're going to do that. So it's a very interesting report, actually. It doesn't rule in or out anything yet.
Okay. Well, that's the only one that really had me interested. By the way, I did catch your program last night, it did keep me awake. It was excellent. I mean, I really could not believe how good the level of discourse between those two men.
It was
so excellent.
it was remarkable. Yes. Thank you
Yes.
very much for the call, and I recommend anybody get a copy of that. The thing that's got me, I think, more upset and angry this morning than anything else is this total twit of a representative of the HAARP Project who said that ham radio operators are violating the ionosphere with their transmissions worldwide, and to even begin to suggest that the radiation in the manner radiated from amateur radio operators to the ionosphere is the same thing as a focused, narrow beam intended to actually heat the ionosphere in a single point, with 1 billion watts ultimately. To compare that to ham radio operators is one of the most ludicrous, stupid arguments I've ever heard in my whole life, and frankly, it really makes me suspicious of what they're going to do with HAARP. If I wasn't before, I damn sure am now. Amateur radio operators. What's the matter with those people? Looks to me like angels indeed do not play that HAARP.
This is Premier Networks. That was Art Bell hosting Coast to Coast AM on this Somewhere in Time. To Art Bell, Somewhere in Time. Tonight featuring Coast to Coast AM from the 15th of May, 1996.
The real Art Bell. Gee whiz. In the Grassy Knoll chat room, there's an imposter, Art Bell, and somebody sent me a fax, and I logged in. Sure enough, it's an imposter. There's only one way you can know for sure. It'll be Art with a space and then Bell. That's me. The other guy is putting you people on. Imposters. People with little minds. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning, Art. This is Dave, Jimmy from Washington.
How you doing?
Not too bad. I just wanted to make 2 comments. One was on the smoking for the lady that just was talking about that. I found a real interesting way to do that, and that is quitting smoking. Half of it is psychological. You know, you get over the withdrawals from the nicotine after 3 days or so. What I found was that if I leave the cigarettes around the house, and I smoke one, but I would only inhale it. I wouldn't inhale it. I would put it into my mouth, take a deep breath through my nose, and just blow it out of my mouth. And I found that by keeping it around the house and doing that when I really had to have one, it took all the withdrawals away from me, to where after 3 weeks I was able to quit.
Well, I wish I could do it.
It's real easy. All you got to do is just remember the most important thing is no matter how tempted you are, don't inhale. The most psychological thing for me is that if I eliminated cigarettes and took myself away from everybody that smoked, then when I came back around that, I had to have it. And I quit for a couple of years even once. And but I isolated myself from anybody that smoked. I smelt it while I was working with somebody. I had to have a cigarette 2 years later.
Oh, yeah, it smells great.
Yeah. The other thing is the Chupacabra. I was wondering about this. You know the movie Aliens, right?
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver. Okay. Well, now what if these things, they're like walking syringes, okay? Basically, if they got a mouth, they've also got to have a digestive system. So they must be having like some kind of a bladder to hold all this blood they're sucking up.
Yeah.
Okay. What if they're like bees almost, and they're taking it back to the queen, whatever it is. Okay? And if somebody wanted to find where, and be able to trap one of these, maybe if they got together with somebody that was, dealt with like insects, where they're dealt with a queen, and they kind of plot out where these things are and where they're going, maybe they can find a general area where they're taking all this blood back to something.
Yeah, strange. This whole thing is weird and getting weirder by the day. To me it figures along with everything else, imposters on AOL. in chat rooms, people trying to assume my identity, and now this. Along with everything else weird that's going on today. Strange. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Ernest. Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Well, I don't know what is weirder, goat suckers or Citizen Dole.
Citizen Dole? It's a very wise move on his part, Elizabeth.
Well, what has he got, like 72 years worth of voting record hung around his neck or something?
Yeah, something like that. Not quite really that much as an adult voter, but...
That guy's got tread marks on him. But anyway, you know, an earlier caller was talking about the demonic imagery of the Chupacabra.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember my call on the cattle mutilators and kosher animal ritual sacrifice?
Yes.
Well, maybe we're looking at Christians from the distant future. I mean, think about it. Maybe these are Christians who are coming back to, you know, take a little unholy communion on the hoof or something.
Well, it's as good a guess as any.
Well, why should we assume that Christianity ends? You know, we always assume that high-tech advanced cultures will somehow be highly evolved philosophically, you know, that they will have some highly evolved spiritual religion. But why should we assume that? We're technically advanced, and we are just a teeny bit away from, you know, animal and human sacrifice ourselves in our religion.
It could be, Elizabeth. I don't know. I'd rather talk about Bob Dole because I think the tread marks that are going to be produced are going to be all over Bill Clinton's middle.
Well, I would like this to be my last call in the Chupacabra because I'm getting kind of tired of the subject, but I'll switch if you really want to talk about Dole.
Well, I think he's made a brilliant move, Elizabeth, and you're kind of taking a Charlie approach to it here.
I just don't see how he can make the transition because he's just too much a part of the Washington inside. But about Clinton, you know, I've never been a very strong Clinton supporter, but I disagree that he is dangerous to us because even though he is sexually impulsive, he has a classical mind, and we have never been safer as far as foreign policy is concerned than with Clinton and Gore. They have classical, trained minds, and I can't imagine what you're using as evidence for, you know, this argument that we're in some sort of danger because we have Clinton and Dole in office. I don't see that at all. In fact, I don't see, Clinton and Gore, I don't see Dole as superior in that sense.
Oh, well, with regard to foreign policy decisions and use of the military, Elizabeth, there's not even a contest.
Why are you saying that?
Well, because Dole has been in war. Dole knows what war is. Clinton doesn't have the faintest idea.
Well, I'll take an historian any day. I mean, in a world like this, you have to have the deep picture, the broad picture, and I think in that sense...
But Elizabeth, that's like saying... if you were going to build a house, you'd rather have somebody who has never put a nail into a board but thought about it a lot come and build your house instead of a carpenter who's been doing it all his life.
Well, when someone's making geopolitical decisions that affect our very being, our safety, I would rather have someone who has the depth of an historian, who has a classically trained intellect to make those decisions. And on top of that, you have to realize that Clinton has superb military advisors around him. I don't think he's made any mistakes.
All right, thank you. Well, to a degree, you are correct. He has not yet made any arguable gigantic mistakes. Yeah, trouble in Somalia. Handled Haiti, got away with that one pretty well. Handled Korea, and at best put that off. So that much is true, but I'll tell you something. If it ever comes down to a really serious life and death decision, I would much, much, much rather have Bob Dole in office than I would Bill Clinton, and I still say to this day, if a really serious decision has ever required life and death for this country, God help our souls, if Bill Clinton is the one making it. They might know, I just put a message in the chat room on AOL saying AOL is going to have to act to prevent what's going on in there right now, or I will not be back. So if you want to know who's who, that's me. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yes, this is James from Colorado.
Hello, James.
Hey, I got a couple of theme songs for you for the Chupacabra. One of them, the song, I can't remember.
Wait a minute, stop.
Oh, come on.
The name of this animal is Chupacabra.
Okay, Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. If I can do anything, I'm going to get people to pronounce it correctly.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, well, that song that goes, Uga Shaga, we'll change the words to, Chupacabra. Or the one that goes, La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha, change that one to La Chupacabra. And another thing is, I haven't heard that Gabriel horn. Will you please play it tonight before you go off the air? Thank you
haven't heard my Gabriel's horn?
Well, it's been so long, I've forgotten.
Really?
Okay.
It has been a few days. Do you think the horn should be played? I mean, are we really that close to...
Yep, I think so.
You think so?
Yep.
How's that?
Very, very good. Thanks, Art.
All right. You're welcome. See you later. Wildcard line, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art calling from Anchorage.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, these people who want to go out and hunt this chupacabra or wanting to protect themselves from it, and they think they can go out there and blast them away with their high-powered rifle or shoot them with pepper spray, this is going to piss them off. What they need is chupacabra repellent.
Which is what?
Well, it's the truth. They can't exist around that.
They can't exist around the truth?
No.
Do you think they only attack goats that tell lies?
I think chupacabras are running around in people's tightly twisted minds.
How is something so cerebral able to put holes in necks and suck blood from so many hundreds of animals? Just curious.
Well, I think that what people are using this chupacabra, this one world order thing.
One world order? Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now you're off into the one world order. How do you possibly get off into the one world order, sir? It's a chupacabra bloodsucker, not one world order.
It's a part of it. It's one of their weapons. It's a psychological warfare against the people.
Really?
Sure it is.
Uh-huh.
It's just a way of scaring people, a way of controlling people. Well, the chupacabras are coming, What you need is a little chupacabra repellent. That'll keep them away.
Well, all right, sir. Why don't you start us out here?
Start it out?
Yeah.
Well,
spew a little chupacabra repellent.
Pardon me?
I can't hear you. The reason you can't hear me is because you're talking all the time.
Okay.
What I said is, why don't you start now and spew a little chupacabra repellent? In other words, tell the truth.
Well, the truth is that people will believe anything, but you got to look a little deeper, and when you consider they haven't even trapped one, it's pretty hard to get all excited about them. Just like those Bigfoots, they haven't even got a femur bone on it.
Well, Bigfoot hasn't been killing a bunch of things.
Yeah, but they sure got the sound, don't they?
The sound? I've got the sound.
Yeah, you've got the sound. But they haven't even found a femur bone yet.
Well, that's right. They haven't. But in the case of Chupacabra, they have all these dead animals. Now, what do you think is killing them? I mean, is it lies that are killing them, or what? So, this guy imagines probably that David Rockefeller and the Rockefellers in general, and probably the various commissions and the Federal Reserve and all that is responsible for the Chupacabra and everything else. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Yes, I'm pleased to get through. I love your show.
Thank you.
I think I have the perfect answer for this Freeman situation.
Yes?
And that is, sometimes things are much simpler than we realize. If we were to design the perfect jail for these people, it would be a jail where they would do their own laundry, cook their own food, and guard themselves with their own guns. So, I recommend that we simply tell them that if they come out of there, we'll really throw the book at them. But aside from that, if they'll stay in there for 5 years, we'll call it a wash.
Well, the problem with that is then they have received a different brand of justice than everybody else. And so when anybody else gets upset, they too will hold off the authorities with guns and threats and avoid being sentenced.
Well, consider this. We might get lucky. Maybe all these crazy groups will do that. And we'll lock them in for 5 or 6 years, themselves in for 5 or 6 years, and we won't have to worry about them.
Gee, wouldn't that be lucky? So everybody then would know they can go out and break the law, write hot checks, and the worst that's going to happen is they're going to, in effect, suffer house arrest, have to stay in their house. I don't think that's a proper solution. Look, whatever it is that we end up doing with regard to the freemen, they have got to be brought to justice. That's the name of that tune. To the same justice that you would face and or I would face if I broke the law. The court system presently in existence. Now, if they want to bring their common law arguments and their arguments in general into a regular courtroom, let them do it. But they've got to be brought to that, and any other solution is going to be a detriment to all of society. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art. Charles from St. Louis.
Yes, sir.
About this chupacabra.
Yep.
Is it do you think it would be edible? What is?
I think it'd be tough. Probably tough meat, you know.
Think it'd be tough, huh?
Like stringy steak.
How about if we can make some shoes out of it?
Now you're talking chupacabra shoes. Now there you'd have something.
Yeah. Really, I think this thing, if it does exist, as they say, it got to have some type of intelligence to move from place to place like it's moving and avoid the.
Well, if it can move with the ease they say it can move and the speed, 50, 60 miles an hour or faster, and it can fly, then it's understandable that it has not yet been caught by anybody.
Yeah, and it can avoid the public.
Yeah. Anyway, they're laying traps for it all over the place down in Mexico, so we may soon have an example of one, or they may catch one, or they may find something else that is doing this. I know of no animal, do you, that in effect is a vampire? There are vampire bats, but there are not vampires that literally suck all the blood from their victims, that I'm aware of. Anyway, first time caller line, you're on the air.
Hello, Art, how you doing?
I'm okay.
This is Lou in Hayward.
Hey, Lou.
Yeah, I heard on a newscast today that the Hayward Fault is showing a lot of shadowing, which is
They say that the Hayward Fault, sir, has gone from slipping very slowly to literally, their words, lunging. So the Hayward Fault may be about to let go.
Well, that sounds crazy. Yeah, we're sitting to wait for the earthquake now. I have one thing to say about Bob Dole.
Yes.
And that is that I read in the paper that Bob Dole has taken on the campaign advisors of Ronald Reagan. Stuff like that, and that would explain his sudden, I guess you say, charisma that he's come across in the past.
Well, you don't make an omelet without breaking eggs, and now he's begun to break some eggs. We'll see if he follows up, but this is a good move. Brilliant.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thanks for the call, and you can tell it scares the liberals. It really does. The tone of Charlie's call, even Elizabeth's well-modulated tones seem a little stressed tonight. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
You know something, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but, I'm still not convinced that the Freemen have done anything wrong.
Well, you know, the best way, to test that is in a courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching the news and the talk shows and stuff, and I heard little bits of what they believe in.
Yes.
And then I went and got a hold of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and a constitutional law. And I looked up their beliefs, and I still haven't found anything that they've actually done wrong.
Well, what about writing hot checks now?
They set up their own bank.
Oh.
And then they
well, in other words, look, if I set up my own bank, all right, and I wrote a lien against some state senator, a senator I didn't like or something like that.
Is that what
and wait a minute, let me finish. And you came over to my house and you did a bunch of work for me, and I paid you with this check, and you took it to your bank and they laughed at you and said there's no money to pay you out of this. Now, would you feel that I did something wrong to you?
Yeah, I'm not saying that they did do something wrong. I'm not saying that they didn't do something wrong.
No, I'm just saying, would you feel cheated if that happened?
Probably.
Uh-huh.
But, I've been studying the Declaration of Independence and stuff.
Well, that's good, sir. You should continue to do that and also read our laws. Listen, the program is over, so you get the honors.
All right.
Do you know how to do it?
Say?
Do you know how to do it?
Yeah.
Say good night, America.
Good night, America.
And keep reading. From the high desert, good night, America.